We hold these truths to be self-evident. It takes a mom and a dad to create a child. So it takes a mom and a dad to raise one.
This sign says, "Inalienable rights trump states' rights." We wrote that because we believe that rights originate from God if you're religious, and if you are not religious, that rights originate from nature. That man has rights that cannot be taken away by other men.
What in the world is an inalienable right?
In my U.S. history class, sometimes studying Thomas Jefferson was a little bit difficult. He was always talking about unalienable rights and saying things like, we hold these truths to be self-evident.
The founding fathers who did the documents told us what an inalienable right is. It's very simple. John Adams said it this way. He said inalienable rights are antecedent to all, in other words, they come before. They existed before all earthly governments. They cannot be repealed or restrained by human laws. They're rights derived from the great legislator of the universe. That's an inalienable right. It's a right that came from God simply by the fact that you exist. Another founding father who explained it, John Dickinson, who also went on to sign the Constitution. John Dickinson said an inalienable right is a right which gave to you and which no inferior power has a right to take away.
That man has rights that cannot be taken away by other men.
If God gave it to you, government can't take it away from you, or they're not supposed to.
Whether you call it nature or God, each of us exists only through a mom and a dad. Traditional marriage is designed to protect this unalienable right given by the Creator that Jefferson spoke of. When we redefine marriage, we begin to fight against the unalienable rights of children.
The Constitution has 7 articles and 27 amendments. The first 3 articles of the Constitution contain the enumerated powers of the 3 branches of government. Nowhere within those 3 articles that contain these specific enumerated powers is there a power to change the definition of a word that has had legal standing ever since the Constitution was signed.
I'm against the redefinition of marriage because it says to my husband, he's not essential.
Marriage between a man and a woman is the basic, most important unit of society.
Yeah, I am for traditional marriage because I think that marriage between man and woman is ordained of God, and it's very important for children to have both parents, both father and mother, that will both teach them different things.
It's just such a natural inborn instinct in children. They want a father and a mother, and they deserve it.
The fourth point that we find in the Declaration says, again in those 126 words, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitles them. The consent of the governed is not allowed to change moral law. It's not allowed to change the laws of nature or of nature's God. Doesn't matter if 12 states vote and say we're going to redefine marriage. You can't change the laws of nature or nature's God. That's part of our founding documents. That's part of the 7th Amendment to the Constitution.
I have been a widow for 4.5 years now. And I've just seen a difference, what it is without a husband, without a father, my children. He was such a strength to our family. And I just am glad and grateful that we have the opportunity to believe and to live as husband and wife and family.
And we need to make sure that we are holding it together because too many children are growing up in naive circumstances because they don't have proper role models to direct them. And mothers and fathers have their own particular talents to make them learn what they need to know. And so I think it's important that families remain together and they're not threatened by any means. There's nothing wrong with the family, that it doesn't work. It's worked for millions of years, so there's no reason to abandon those values that have kept us together for so long.
I'm grateful for marriage between a man and woman. I believe it's ordained of God. I'm number 10 in a family of 11 children. I'm grateful my mom and dad were married. Even though they divorced, I knew my mom and I knew my dad. And I think that it's just the most wonderful thing. And I have 5 children and so grateful that they had a mom and a dad.
We push so much individual rights, everyone wants their own views heard and everything, but it's not, your choices affect other people, and so what I do doesn't just affect me, it'll affect my family, it'll affect those around me, and I think that goes for everyone. You can't just have it affect you, it affects everyone around you. And so when you're talking about the whole marriage being redefined, that's going to affect all of society. It doesn't just affect the couple, it doesn't just affect that child of their couple, it affects the whole nation. So,
Court said this. It says marriage was not originated by human law. When God created Eve, she was a wife to Adam. They then and there occupied the status of husband to wife and wife to husband. The truth is that civil government has grown out of marriage, which created homes and population and society from which government became necessary. Marriages will produce a home and a family that will contribute to good society, to free and just government, and to the support of Christianity. It would be sacrilegious to apply the designation, quote, a civil contract to such a marriage. It's that and more. It's a status ordained by God. The court said there's no way we're going to go in and redefine this because it doesn't belong to us, it belongs to God.